Start over.
Nah, we good.
No. Okay.
Take one.
All right, so things that we're going to be talking about today, or topics: colorism, Black family dynamics, and girl, you fast. Or girl, you fast. Whichever one. That's what we'll be talking about. Wing that. But first, with being Black here, depending on where you grow up or where you've been brought up, colorism has a variety of like topics, or sometimes not even being able to discuss it, but to bring it up. And so we've seen, like, for Color Girls and all the other stuff, like different movies, documentaries, and like interviews and stuff like that about colorism. But it's very interesting hearing other people's perspective. So, Tamalise, we were talking about colorism, and I enjoy hearing how she describes her her introduction to what colorism is.
So honestly, throughout life, I've never heard a couple of things that I came across.
Where are you from?
I'm from Virginia.
Okay.
Southern Virginia. 757 area. But no, we really be doing that sometimes. If you're away from home, not nowhere else. Anyway, so I went to an all-Black high school. Everybody Black. It's a few other people there, but Black people as a whole, we're really inclusive, and so we make sure everyone else feel included when we doing stuff or anything we're doing. Cookouts, we invite our white friends and stuff sometimes, but they got to be invited to the cookout, So just very inclusive. Everything cool. I always knew I was pretty. I always knew I was cute. I always knew I was very highly attractive. So it was just whatever. But it wasn't until I got friends outside of where I'm from, like, because I went to the Navy for a little bit, and I started having friends that were brown skin like me, but they had like issues with them thinking that they're pretty, and I'm like, you look good. What you mean you don't think you pretty today or whatever? Like, you got that brown chocolate skin or whatever I would say, depending on who I'm talking to. And they would just be like, oh, well, I heard like growing up all the time that you're just pretty for a brown skin girl, or you're pretty for a dark skin. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, what, 20, 21 hearing this? I never heard I'm pretty for a brown skin girl a day in my life. Like, you can't tell me I'm pretty for a brown skin girl. I'm just pretty. But I've always heard I'm just pretty, or I'm attractive, or whatever the case. So for her to tell me pretty for a brown skin girl, I'm like, who said that?
Right. Okay.
Then I see for color girls and found out that this is a country epidemic. I never heard of that. And I'm like, I'm definitely brown. I'm not light skinned at all. So I guess I'm just cute or something. I don't know, but I just thought it was really interesting.
Mm-hmm. So I think that's interesting because I guess it's more so being Black. I never really thought about being darker or anything until I think I was probably like 12 or 13, and one of my cousins was like, she said something about my skin, like, you're light skinned, and I was like, no, we the same skin. Like, I didn't think of it in any other way. But she was like, no, I'm darker. She was saying like she was darker or whatever. She was like, no, you are light skinned. And so of course there's different hues or whatever, but I didn't think, oh, my light skin is better than your dark skin or anything else. It was just something that she actually, was somebody probably said something to her about it, and then she made me aware of it. So I know for a fact that I never thought, oh, light skin or anything else. But then when somebody who is what do you mean? Yeah. I'm light skinned. And sometimes we even have like conversations about just her having other friends or family members like light skin. To me, it was, if you are Black, I know that you have a light, like you're light, like my mother is lighter than me, you're darker than me, or whatever, but it never like crossed my mind like
There's two different skins.
it's it's two different skins.
Like I do know that some people are like light skin or dark skin, but
Yeah.
okay, it's just part of being black. I thought
That's what I thought too.
No,
But it depends on, again, where you grow up and how it's introduced to, because you're saying outside of, you were in the Navy, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're in the Navy. So I was like 12, and even though I grew up around like black people, I still went to school when I was like 7 or whatever. I went to a school and they had more white people than I was used to or whatever. But it was I never had that hue jump. It was a color jump, like you're white and black. That was something, but I had never had a hue jump, if you will.
I just think it's really interesting how within America we are really divisive, and then with those different divisions that we put ourselves in or that someone cast on us. So for us, it would be the black community. Mm-hmm. So we're not white or not Asian. We would be in the black division. Yeah. So now within the black division, now it's light skin and dark skin. And then when you ask me, like I know, like I have friends that say that they're light skin. Where I'm from, they would be dark skin.
Right.
So are you really light skin?
That reminds me of so Rwanda, and have you ever seen Hotel Rwanda?
No, I haven't. Really need to. Don't judge me.
So it kind of reminds me of to put it in perspective, not just here in America, because we have a lot of that. Like you said, there's a lot of decisiveness because we're in America, and then within our own group, we start to do the same thing. But in Hotel Rwanda, or in Rwanda. As far as like genocide and everything, it was the Hutu and the Tutsi like people or whatever, and it was based on like just looks in itself. And I go to that because that's Africa, and people from I've met people from Africa, and they don't understand like I guess the mentality that American black people have versus them like oppression. What do you mean? Like oppression from like white society or whatever, like oppression. What do you mean? But to be able just to see that like your nose, it was a matter of your nose is too wide or what, just comparing it more so to the European standard, if you will. But then coming back, I'm going to come back to America and just going into like the brown paper bag test. Yeah. Like it's something that, like I said, I started to hear about it once me and my cousin, like we're cousins, we talk or whatever. But then that's when I started to hear about it within like our like teen development groups, I guess you will call them. And I thought to myself, like a brown paper bag, am I lighted in a brown paper bag? Well, the thing is, brown paper bags come in many colors. No joke. So depending on what brown, what paper bag you're comparing it to, you could be lighter, you could be darker. And that's something, again, that hue thing, it was like, but it's the same, it's the same. I know the difference between the white bag and a brown bag or a tan bag. But once you have different colors right in front of you, you're like, you're black. And that also brings me into something else too. When people ask like, well, what is she or something, and they're trying to like put your features, like grab your features and your skin color and be like, oh, she black. And that to me, when people say that, okay, well, I don't try and guess people's ethnicity. I'm like, I guess she black. Because there are people who are darker than you and they are from Mexico. Or Honduras or something like that. And so when I look at people, it's like, I do see like brown skin or whatever, but it's not a matter of you're better than me or I'm better than you or you're better than me or anything else, but, and that goes across, I guess, all
the African diaspora.
Yeah. Diaspora, like that's across the world. If you think about it, because even, white people would stay out of the sun. So they're, because not even just to like protect their skin, but in the sense of, no, my skin is light and I can't have it darker. There's, oh my gosh, there's a movie I'm thinking of. It's The Blue Lagoon, I think it's
I
called.
haven't seen that one either.
Okay, so The Blue Lagoon. Now that movie is like a ship. It's like a shipwreck or something like that, and a girl and a boy. They're literally kids, and they grow up on this deserted island. But anyway, somebody like comes. I think they come to the island or whatever to save them, and their skin is like olive tone and everything. And the people are like, "Oh, we have to put some lemon juice on your skin."
So
To lighten them up.
what?
And right. So this the movie, I forgot the actor and the actress's names. I'm so sorry. But I mean, they were white. And I didn't think anything of it until these people came off this boat and was like, "We'll have to lighten your skin with lemons." And I was like, "Wait, what? This is, anyway." So it crosses like every, not just the African diaspora, but all people. And I think it's crazy that we put that in our community.
Yeah.
To divide ourselves on who is better and who's better or prettier or more educated,
or
smart, like all of that stuff. It's
any of
crazy
that.
because if you do that, you are gonna be sadly mistaken.
Like, give people a chance before you judge them. Like, I know we're in the Tinder online dating like stages or age right now, and you can't judge people really off of a picture because it could be fine as you know what, but you don't got nothing to talk about.
That's true.
So don't do the light skin, dark skin thing, because just because you light skin, stereotypes don't always go.
How about this? You acting real light skin right now.
How? Like, don't.
Okay, but within our culture, that's.
Yeah, we need to stop that. Or just because a man is crying don't mean he doing light skinned people shit. Oh, can we cuss on here? I wasn't sure if we were going to.
So that's funny to me. Like, you acting real light skin right now. I guess in a sense, there's just you acting real different. Is that what? Yeah, you acting real different, or are you just doing something that other people might be doing?
When I hear that, I hear ignorance.
Right.
Personally,
Well, okay.
I guess I never entertain it to even think what they mean. But I guess since we're talking about it now.
Yeah, like now I have to stop and think. What is... Because now I think we're like...
Because
just
if
to say
you light
light
skin,
skin,
you go with the stereotypes, meaning like, oh, well, they're bougie or they're stubborn or being stuck up or any type of being closer to whiteness.
Yes.
We would...
And unfortunately, and I'm saying this now or thinking about it now, it's almost as if you're being white, but it's
the black people white.
Yeah, like the black people white. I believe that it just allows us to understand that people have standards. That might be something that we have to just
and be okay with that.
And be
people
okay with it.
Make boundaries for you and what you say around them, or how you treat them, what you do with them. You either take it or leave it. Yeah. And it's better to create boundaries earlier than later.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I have one more thing to say, and then we're gonna go to the next topic. But there is a black experience, whether you know it or not. One day you might think la 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 la, and then the black experience happens. You be like, no, I'm black. But I think it's the words I'm trying to say, I guess, is not all black experiences are the same, but the black experience is. Yes.
Because at some point in your life, maybe at least once a week, if you are black or identify as black or any type of African descent, you will know you are black.
At some point in your life, you're going to be like, I'm black.
And if you're a black woman, you know you black. And sometimes you get reminded that you black before you get reminded you're a woman.
Yep.
Usually is you reminded you black.
Yep.
Depending on the line of work you work in.
Or just, again, the experience. Yeah. It is the experience, because you might not think about it until you move out of your neighborhood, and you could be black and live in a neighborhood with white people or other people, Asian, anything, and everybody is inclusive, and you don't think anything of it until you're out of that. So it is the experiences that we all have that, of course, shape the way that we think and we interact with the world. So we gotta
unlearn a lot of behaviors.
And no, not just unlearn, but we gotta teach each other. Teach each other. I got nieces, and I got super nieces. They so cute. Like, this is okay. I have okay. I'll go back to colorism because we can talk about colorism for a long time.
Yeah, we can go to
okay.
One too.
Okay. Number 2, Black family dynamics.
So how did you grow up, Vanessa?
How did I grow up? Well, it's my family dynamic, correct?
Yes.
So I grew up with my mother and my stepfather, who I guess has been in my life since I was like 3. I guess like 2 or 3 or something like that. I have to confer with the family. But that's what I'm saying. He's always been around, so I don't see that. But then my father, I know who he is. And I always say I met him once by accident. When I was there. I know it sounds really funny, but that's the truth of the matter. But like my parents, like my mother and my father, my biological father, they were together for a long time. And he helped raise my sister, who has a different dad than I do. And my mom, she was raised with a big family. It was 16 of them. So 16 of them was one mom, one dad. So they came from like, this is mama, this is daddy, this is the house, and and everything. So yeah. But within my growing up, I had all of my cousins. I got a lot of cousins. Hey cousins. on my mom's side and on my dad's side. So it was me and my sister and I are 17 years apart.
And you're the youngest, or she's?
No, I'm the youngest.
You're the youngest.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she was 17 when I was born. 18. She was about to be 18 because she was a senior, I think, in high school on her way to college. So we never grew up in the same house. She was off to college when, actually, that's kind of how I was introduced to my dad, because she was working for a Montessori that I was going to. He was one of the administrators there. And anywho, that's how that story goes. My parents meet, blah, blah, blah. And then I grew up with my dad, which I just call my dad, not my stepdad, with my dad. A whole bunch of cousins.
Is it my turn? Well, grew up in a single family home. My mom had me. I'm the oldest. She got 4 kids. And then I have a relationship like with my dad's side of the family, but not him. So that's kind of awkward when he's around, because I don't know you, but I know the family. Not you though. So it's me. I'm the only child with my mom and my dad. Everyone else have different parents. So I always just call my mama kids. My siblings, like I usually just count that off, because if I add my dad's kids, it would you'll be like, oh, she got a whole bunch of brothers and sisters running around the house. And no, I didn't. Just the 3. And then kind of like you, my mom had a baby when I was in high school. I was about to graduate, so I'm 17 with a baby sister. Like, now she 8. I'm like, when did time go? How you 8 already? And then you be like, your mama, after she get older having kids, she is totally different. Like, my 2 youngest siblings, they do whatever they want to do. Me and my older little brother, straight, can't go nowhere, can't do nothing, can't go outside, nothing. But these little kids, they do whatever they want to do, and they ask for smoothies. Smoothies. We from the hood. What you mean smoothies? You mean Kool-Aid? A Kool-Aid cup?
No, they want a smoothie.
They want a smoothie.
Yeah,
I know, but never heard of it.
Yeah.
Not at 8.
I think that's just the age gap though, because that's how my sister would tell me. And so like my sister, she has 4 children, and her oldest son, my nephew, is 5 years younger than me.
Mm-hmm.
So that like how she felt about me, I low-key feel about not my first nephew, but the second nephew. He's 2 years younger, so he's 7 years younger than me.
Mm-hmm.
But like that 7 year, from 7 to like, because I have a niece so it's 5, 7, 9, and then 14 years younger than me. So I see my nephew who's now 16, and I be like, you are so spoiled. Like, but it's not bad. Not like, so for instance, I grew up in a small town, and he works in the town, and he always asked for a ride within town. I got rides, but I didn't get the luxury. I would just walk. Or like, like whatever, just going to the library. Oh, I'm not there yet. Just walk.
I think all this
and
is...
ices.
Yeah.
He always getting ices, but those are 99 cents at the...
They still 99 cents?
Yeah, at the Quick Trip or whatever. The Thornton's gas station a ways ago.
I think all that just means, or that just shows me, like, have kids when you're older, so you'll have time, or you'll be able to spoil them, like, financially, mm-hmm. or just, like, being with them and stuff.
Okay.
Or teach more or something.
I think, well, you kind of, depending,
What's
it's
the word
maturity probably.
Okay, maturity as a parent.
But that's not always, like, the mature, I guess, yeah.
Because, like, you have, I mean, I personally feel like, for an example, like, your grandma lets you do whatever all the time, right? Or, okay, maybe not. Okay, not all the time. Grandma,
the younger ones, but not me.
No. The old, well.
Like, no. I'm talking about, like, my grandmother. So, I have, like, how many of us? Like, 35 I have 35 first cousins. Mm-hmm. So, the oldest one, she's not 50 yet. Mm-hmm. No, how old is? No, I think the oldest is 50. Yeah, my oldest cousin is 50. Mm-hmm. And then my youngest cousin is like 24 or 24, 25. Mm-hmm. So it's a 25-year age difference. Mm-hmm. Well, no. I'm not even. Oh my gosh, there's more of it. Wait, boom. Sorry, she in high school. Mm-hmm. Who She's in high school, so I think she's a senior in high. Nope, because there's another one under. So a sophomore in high school. Mm-hmm. So she's a senior, sophomore in high school. Yeah. Okay. Boom. So a sophomore in high school and 50. Mm-hmm. So that's a huge age range. Mm-hmm. Well, the one honestly, the day that I saw my grandmother as a grandmother, like, you soft. Okay. My cousin is 19. I think he's 19. Mm-hmm. But I say this because you was talking about grandma let you get away with anything. I have an old school grandmother. Okay. All my grandmothers was old school. But like, mm-hmm. They was old school. They was from Mississippi, old school. But they was sweet as pie and took care of every single thing. They was that kind of grandmother. Okay. Well, I didn't get away with stuff. It was sit down, this, whatever. I was in the kitchen one day, and my cousin did not want to finish his cereal. Mm-hmm. And he was like, I don't want to eat. I don't want to get up. And you know what she said? Well, get up then. I turned around. I was like, what?
Who's this?
I honestly was turning around for like, unfortunately, a backhand or something or whatever. And nothing ever came. He got up from the table and walked away. Okay. And she said, go up there with your mama. And I was like, she a grandmother. Like, she is like, I'm done with this. I'm not even finna that's how it was like that moment. So, the maturity, yes, having like you have such an age range, but you see, like my grandmother, she had her first kid when she was 23, I think, but her last kid when she was 46.
Yeah, it's gonna be two different moms.
So they have two different, like,
I mean,
way
you're different at
things.
23 than you are 30.
And life happens.
And yeah,
I mean, between that and the first one and the last one,
yeah,
it was more children.
yep.
So after a while, you were like, And I had older parents. So my mother didn't have me until she was in her late 30s. You know,
and my mom, I think she's my sister. Shout out to my mama.
Hey, mama.
She's still in her. Oh, she told my little sister was like, "Oh yeah, mommy just turned 26." Wait, I'm about to be 26. How we the same age, mom?
How?
Okay, I guess we twins.
That's too much. That's, well, yeah, I guess that's, okay, so we talked about our family dynamic as far as, like, how we grew up.
Yeah.
Because I said earlier, every black experience is different, but the black experience is pretty much yeah. I think that's the same in a sense of how when people say, like, having not so much as a single parent home, but in a sense of when you say, like, you don't have a relationship with your dad. Well, I don't have a relationship with my biological father. And even with my stepdad, I don't think that we actually started to develop an actual relationship until I was like 23, 24. And it was something that, because I had my own, like, not so much as walls as far as, like, he's not being my dad, but whatever. I was a teenager and life was happening. So, but I can honestly say that I didn't see the significant difference of trying to cultivate or develop a relationship with him the way a daughter and a father would until I was, quite honestly, married and divorced. That's a whole nother thing, but
yeah,
but married and then understanding what it means to actually have that, like, having your father, not so much as, like, being married and divorced, like, I didn't understand it, but it was during the time that I was married, like, okay, well, I'm, like, my dad is my dad and nobody can steer me wrong from that. And once that was in my mind, it was like, okay, well, I have to be able to reach out and have that kind of communication. Not all relationships are like that. Trust me, I do pray, okay, and burn sage, because sometimes you have to, like, put yourself in a position to try to have a relationship with them, and that's something that each individual has to decide.
Hold on, with who?
With their father, if their father is not in their life, or the people
you sound like you and your stepdad.
Yeah, like, if their father's not in their life, or just not. Pardon? No.
People in their biological father or their real father? I mean,
what I'm saying is, so who you call a father, and I'm saying that in the sense of being able to, although, like, I didn't have that same connection with him, as though he was my biological father. So even to understand that, you get what I'm saying? To understand that type of relationship, it's something that you have to just learn over time. To have that kind of a father-daughter relationship, even though he was he was there, but he grew up in the house, everybody know that was my dad or whatever. But as far as me being like, just turning into, like, okay, that's my daddy. It took time, it took different experiences, it took a lot of different things for me to just be like, no, this is my dad, and he's a good dad, and even he had to learn because he was a lot older when I came around too, so he had to learn. And part of that as far as my family dynamic, that's something that as I got older and grew up and he has gotten older or whatever, I've had to take on the role of like, no, this is like, you're my dad, like putting the dad role on him, not in a bad way, but putting a dad role on him because I rely on him and he does rely on me, even as a daughter, that even in ways that people don't understand if you've not had that connection. So parents need their kids, and you don't get that, and you don't get that until if you don't have that relationship biologically, depending on how you see it. Because I knew he wasn't my dad, but I also just knew, like, I called him dad, but I didn't have that type of connection.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah.
I like to add. Guess I never talked about my stepdad.
Mm-hmm.
He's been around since I was in like middle school, so he all I know. What's up? Shout out to you. Shout out to Rob. Yeah, he cool. He came to all my games, all my cheer competitions, went to everything.
Mm-hmm.
#1 supporter. My mama too, but like they came together.
Mm-hmm.
So shout out to my mama again.
Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, I have a question going to as far as family dynamics.
Mm-hmm.
So it takes a village. As far as your village, like what? Because I said I have a whole bunch of cousins, even cousins I've never met, cousins that I know about, but I've never met face to face. But I say that as far as like your village, like as far as helping raise you or people people who, I guess, parental support. That's how I see it, like parental support.
Asking me?
Yeah.
So all 4 of my grandparents and my aunts.
Okay. Did you have any people like in your community that were like family friends, like long time family friends who was part of your upbringing, your parental, like your village or anything?
My mom's friends from like high school that was still around when we were still in Virginia. They were my aunts too.
Okay.
Yeah, just still like shout out to my aunts.
Right. You got good aunties.
Biological or not.
Right. That's for sure. Well,
What about you?
I had, being younger, I would say under the age of like 7, because I lived in the city. I'm from Chicago, so I lived in the city, and that's where most of my family lived. So once I turned like 7, my mom and my dad got married, and we moved to the suburbs. It was not down the street. I mean, to a kid, it's not down the street, and as an adult, it's a little ways away. But it was cousins coming over on the weekend, like instead of seeing them all the time, just cousins coming in on the weekend or whatever. And then I'm very fortunate that my mom, when we moved out to the suburbs, she had not have friends, but developed friendships and stuff with people who I consider my aunts. Like, not even that, she had friends from like high school or from like high school and college and stuff too. But as far as my immediate, like when I first moved to the suburbs, I had like one auntie who was out there, and then my mom's friends who are still her friends to this day. I'm friends with their daughters. I love y'all. They my cousins, they my cousins. I got your back, you got mine. Because we could not just come from the same place, but you was in the same.
Any males in this? Because I just noticed I didn't.
I think
anybody but my grandparents. But my grandfathers.
Let's talk about males. Let's talk about family dynamics, because I also was thinking about that as far as
grandpa the only dude we know,
but like talking about family. Yeah. And how even when I was describing like my family and my family dynamic, I went all the way back to my mom. Mm-hmm. Well, one, I don't know my biological father's family or whatever, but I can at least, I know that I can swing back to my dad and my stepdad, and I know who his mother is. I grew up with his nieces and nephews. Like, so, but I never go swing that way because I don't know. I know them, but I know like a lot of the extensions of them and stuff versus like growing up with them, being at the house all the time or whatever.
Do you think the male figures in your life, like, are influential over how you act growing up? Because I feel like that this question leads us to our next topic.
It does.
Which is,
yes.
Girl, you fast.
Girl, you fast.
So what do you think about the family dynamic?
I do.
When it comes to girl, you being fast.
In the sense of father figures?
Father figures or any male role model in your life.
Okay.
Because I don't know. Go ahead. That's the question.
Okay. So, I guess male role models yes.
Yes, what, Vanessa?
Like, how does it play into
does it play into a role? Yes.
Yes,
okay.
It does. And it plays, and you're asking, does it play into a role of like your exposure to male role models?
Or how do you going into being fast.
Yes.
So how do you correlate the two?
Yes.
Of having or their lack of.
Okay. So my answer was yes, it does. And the reason why I say that is because it depends on not just if you don't there is a distinct difference in my opinion on being able to have present mother and fathers in the home. And I say mothers and fathers because I understand that there is a need to understand the not so much as the role of a male, but to have the males, like to see to see men and women together and actually bringing forth, like raising a child. So if you see that together, like in the home, and not just not just a stepfather, but like your biological mother and father in the home. And I'm saying this on like in the most optimal family dynamic, like mother and father, whatever, however that you play that out in your head. But to see that versus anything else, I feel like, yeah, it does play into it. And I say that because that's how my experience, not so much as searching, but testing the waters to see what type of male attention, especially if you don't have that male, the undergirding of a positive male influence in your life. Because that over time, I know that like, yeah, I had my stepdad, but I also know that like my high school track coach, El Cocho, I love you. Like that's my high school track coach. And I definitely saw him as like one of my first, like I saw him as a male role model in my life. And I was 13 or 14 years old in 8th grade. So that was like I had uncles and stuff too. Like my uncle, shout out to all my uncles, every single one of them, all sides, every single one. Boom, 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 boom. You, and you. Because no matter like, as far as like the outside of my family, like my nucleus or whatever, anytime I saw my uncles, I always knew that I was safe. And I'm blessed to say like with all my uncles, that's how they made sure they protected the girls in our family. But of course they had their own families and stuff. So as far as being a niece and having my uncles, I've always felt great. And my cousins too, my male cousins. I got a dope like cousin uncle relationships, but which is interesting because with each of them, like you have different like your own type of relationships. So as far as how they love, you know what I'm saying? And this is something that I really did. Well, it goes into girl, you being fast, is because like even to have that type of whether biological in the village or step family or anything else, to be able to have that a positive, nurturing, non-adulterated support of a male role model, absolutely, it definitely makes a difference. But then I also believe that if not undergirded and told, not even told, I think we talked about this being girl you fast, it's a kind of like a part of the maturity. Not so much as like, oh, every girl is fast or anything, but because I'm not every girl, I'm just who I am. But as far as girl you fast, we're taught early on what you should and should not be doing with males. Mm-hmm. So,
but never any reasoning
but
why.
Exactly.
It's just because God said so. Because I said so.
Yes.
Because it's never a good enough reason for a teenager.
So, like, you shouldn't be doing, don't do this, don't do that. But you always, as a girl, like, and it depends. It also depends on the male role model and the male influence. Mm-hmm. Has a lot to do with the female role models and influence that you have in your life as well, because you can, like, depending on whoever is taking care of you, because you can be a black girl or a child and being raised by a single father. Let's not get that twisted or anything else. Let's not get that twisted at all. Oh yeah. Okay. So, making sure, like, let's not get this twisted, but to understand that, to have that type of, it's a comfort level and knowing that you are safe and in a safe space. But then as you kind of grow up, you kind of test the waters of what is safe. And I'm being completely honest. Like, I know when I was younger, my mom used to tell me, like, don't sit on men's laps. Mm-hmm. Like, you don't sit on no man's lap. Not like nobody, like not your uncle, like, like, you don't sit on no man's lap. And again, that was just it. And of course, I probably was like in kindergarten or something, like probably even a little bit younger, and nobody ever told me why. I just knew I wasn't supposed to. Mm-hmm. So, and sounds really crazy, but the moment that you sit your child on Santa Claus' lap, it's like, but you're a stranger. That's what I used to think when I was a kid. I ain't never like doing like the Santa Claus thing. Because I was like, you're a stranger. You will be sitting on his lap and you're a stranger. I'm not supposed to do that. But as you kind of like test the waters, like, why shouldn't I sit on his lap? Mm-hmm. And next thing you know, you in high school, come here, like you kind of like test the waters or whatever. Mm-hmm. And depending on what kind of male influence or role models you have in your life, like whether they might see it or they like let you know, like get away from him, or like if they don't interject or if they don't kind of like check you as the male positive role model in your life, then you're gonna keep testing that until you sit on something.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. I actually think we should go to our announcements now.
Okay.
And this month we're gonna bring awareness to alopecia, because this is Alopecia Awareness Month.
September is Alopecia Awareness Month. These are our announcements.
These are our announcements.
And just to let you guys know, the reason why I'm saying this is because, yes, I have alopecia. And alopecia is an autoimmune disease that affects hair follicles on your body. Everyone who has alopecia, it can affect them differently. There's 3 different types. There's totalis, which is total. Areata, which is, it affects an area of your body. And then there's like traction alopecia, where if you are wearing your weaves too tight or baseball caps or whatever, you start to get like traction alopecia. Your hair starts to come out. But alopecia, it's an autoimmune disease. Your body says, no, you shouldn't grow hair. And so your hair just does not grow. I do have a little bit of hair. This is my God patch is what I call it. I have other spots, but this is mine. I've been growing my hair for about probably over a year, over a year now. So that being said, I want to make people aware of it, because people don't know. Today at the grocery store, this little boy, I was walking out the grocery store, minding my own business, and he in the back seat of the car, and he was like, So I went to his car and I was like, it's weird, right? I don't have hair. Now, the reason why I say that is because it's very important, like the whole pointing and stuff. I don't think that's cute. But I do believe the reason why it's acceptable is because the people who they are pointing at, whether, no matter what happens, whatever your difference is, if no one says anything, they're going to keep doing this. So I felt like it was important for me like to stop and say, right. And so I just said, I have alopecia, you know, like it's letting them know. Because there is a difference between having alopecia and being bald by choice. You fine too, girl. But yeah, so Alopecia Awareness Month, just letting you guys know. If you see people who don't have hair, they might have alopecia. I don't know what everybody's comfortability is, but I'm more than happy to share my alopecia experiences. I do believe that it is my God gift not to have hair. Y'all all got hair. I don't. I'm different. But yeah. So anywho, we talked a lot, and I'm glad that we were able to talk, roommate.
Yes.
Roommates.
Well,
until
subscribe and like, comment, all that good jazz.
Until next time.
Until next time.
Go be dope.
Peace.